Good morning. It's Erica of AriBo Arts, and we're here for Battmaking with AriBo Arts. And first thing I've actually got to do is clean up Sebastian a little bit. I'm actually planning on doing a spa day for him probably next week. There will be a separate event for that. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be a separate video labeled Sebastian Gets a Spa Day. So I just finished a series of bats that I probably, similar enough in color, they would complement the bat I'm going to make today. So I'm not going to be real particular about getting fiber off the drum, but I do have some tines that got a little out of whack, so I do need to deal with that. Okay. So let me tip you over here so you can get a better view of Sebastian. There we go. And of course my favorite tool, which is a hairbrush cleaner, and this just lets me you can tell I was doing that sort of light color blue, which would complement the color I'm going to do today. And when it gets full, like as full as that, you want to take it off and just sort of gather it in your hand. You can see there was a little bit of Angelina in there. Full again. I'm going to just quickly do, because of the turning ratio, I have to crank quite a bit to get through the entire liquor in here. Okay, so I think that's enough for the cleaning. So this is what I got off. Put that over here in my little bag that's overly full. And then the other tool I need is my knitting needle, which is, I think this is aluminum. And so essentially what I do is I just go in where I've got teeth bent. You don't want to jab it down into the cloth. You want to ride the surface. So this particular carding cloth, I don't know if it's the same as the American one, so this is from a British company. And the teeth are like in pairs of two. And so sometimes they get a little crossed, and they get, the worst offenders are sort of at the beginning and the end. Not really sure why. But I just go in between. Go. Still got a little bit of fiber, a bit of fuzz. You're just going to get a smoother bat if you do this. I mean, I know there are some people who don't straighten the tines, and that, that is what it is. Same way, like, some people, don't clean their surface as they're working. There's all different ways to make a bat. Okay. Just checking to see if there's any other major spots. Normally I stand right where the tripod is, so I can like not get hit by the arm here. There's just, certain spots where it tends to happen. Of course, once it happens once, those teeth are probably a little more vulnerable in the future. More than halfway done. So I've been running some errands this morning. Got some stuff mailed out at the post office. Been making Facebook events for WAFA. I host 2 WAFA Zooms. One is weekly and one is monthly. And so I've started making the events for this year. Over the weekend, I made the events up that I run on my own page out for the rest of January. I made the events for the Sweater Support Group, which meets the 3rd Sunday of every month. We used to do it more often, but then Ply started their own Spinners Guild, and their sort of Zoom spin thing conflicted with our Zoom spin thing. So we went down to once a month. And that group is open to all WAFA members. Essentially, all of our Zooms are meant to be socials. Right? They're meant to be, come and hang out and work on stuff, but we don't care if you're like writing letters or whatever. You can just, and sometimes like when I'm the host and it's like the end of a long day, I just sort of sit there and maybe I'm like scrolling on my phone. But okay, so our base today is going to be this fun thing. I think I'm going to do 2 bats eventually. See, I already got transfer over here. This is a from a Wisconsin farm. This is a color I bought this in the past from them. This is a Aurora Borealis. This is Coopworth and Bamboo. And I'm going to tear off a little bit, and I think I'm going to put this behind me off camera. But I'm trying to see if I can sort of show you, like, if you can see some of the streaky bits from the bamboo. Okay. And that sort of the purpley bits there. So we're going to get this great teal. And then we're going to add more bamboo. And I think this may be the color of some of the bamboo that's in there. This is sort of a commercial product that's accessible to everyone. I've got this brighter blue, which is bio-nylon. I'll probably put in a little bit of this turquoise mulberry silk. I've been using that a lot lately. And then I have this fun sari silk. So it's going to be, it won't be monochromatic, but it's going to be very tonal. Okay. Now, one of the things I've learned about using this Coopworth, I absolutely love this Coopworth, but is, it's from their farm. And so sheep are messy eaters. And so the roving is pretty thick, so I need to thin it out anyways, but it gives me the opportunity to feel it and know, pull things out. Yeah, so you can see the purple show. Oh, you can't really see it there. I can see it. There's purple right there. Okay, so we're just going to feed this in. So just a reminder, Facebook will keep this video up for 30 days once I finish it. And then, but what will happen immediately after this is, one, I'll go back and check comments because Facebook doesn't always show me the comments. But 2, I will download the video and then, completely unedited, we'll upload it to YouTube under my AriBo Arts page, or channel, I guess. Okay, so this color is called, and that's a word I have trouble with, anemone. So this is going to be, there is a contrast. It's not huge, so we're definitely going for more of a tonal effect here. But certainly there's going to be a textural difference. This is a bit of a knot, so I'm going to go in and, this was a braid at one point. You can see it's just sort of like an octopus now, because I've been like pulling on it from different angles. Okay, that'll work. So that's a nice, it's a contrast, it's a nice complement. It's not really a contrast. But this is mulberry silk. And dyed by a friend of mine up in Minnesota. And this is the biodegradable nylon that I love to use. Oh, and there's a Heloise. Hello, Heloise. I moved a box so that it was sort of in where the tripod was going to go. So the box has been shoved right in the middle of the walkway, and she could jump over it quite easily. But she was sort of standing there trying to look to figure out which side of the box should she go on, and it turns out she was actually on the way to the bathroom. I don't know if my phone is good enough to pick up the sound of her scratching in the litter box, but so this is the sari silk, so it's suspended threads, and I know Sebastian's still noisy. Hopefully his spa day will fix that. We'll see. Okay, so like I said, it's going to be a somewhat subtle one. So that's a layer. So we're just going to keep going. Now, I don't expect this to be a particularly heavy bat. Having used this Coopworth, because she sells them in these great 8-ounce balls, which usually means I can get like 4 bats out of it. Save the tag. But there's a lot of air in here. A little bit to VM. Eloise, what are you doing? She's putting litter in the water bowl. I don't know why she does that. She gets out and she goes to her water bowl, which is also in the bathroom, because that's the only place that doesn't have hardwood floors around here. And then she starts trying to cover it. Which just means that any litter on her feet ends up sort of. Oh, now she's just going to go back and lie on the arm of the sofa. So usually when she uses a litter box, she goes and sits on her toes and looks out the window. She might do that. She's sitting on the arm. It's like directly in front of me here. But she's like not lying down. She's sort of like looking around and peeking. And sometimes she's also looking over at the window because there was a bird nest up there last year, and I think they're still around. And she's looking up. Do we have something flying in here? She's acting like we have something flying. I hope we didn't get another bat. I've only ever had 2 bats in here, and I've lived here for almost 20 years. It could just be, a dust bunny. Entirely possible. Okay, so silk. If you are watching this after the fact, you can still comment. I'll get a notification and I will respond. Yeah, so after I make this bat and then its sibling bat, my focus is going to be on making some bats for a class I'm teaching this weekend. I'm doing a felting class about how you can use bats to wet felt into using cobweb felting techniques into making wraps and things like that. Okay. So, 'cause, 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 ' some VM here. Just keeping an eye on her to see if she's keeping to. I say her looking around earlier could also be that what I call the post litter box frolic. You know, where cats sometimes get the zoomy type thing, so that could have been her version of that. Okay, just flattening it out. So I know some of you knew that originally I was going to be on vacation for part of January. And I had to cancel it, unfortunately. But if I hadn't canceled it right now, I would be in Barcelona. Which is also why a bath I made this weekend was called Barcelona. So a little sad about that. I may have to make myself some type of tapas. You don't have to, when you pull something off, you don't have to use all of it. You can always set a little bit aside. And use it. Or I just tuck it inside the bag. Okay, let's have some of this. So, you know, sometimes you'll get in the sari silk, they tend to put, you know, other colors. There's going to be like a little bit of red in there. Whenever those threads get on there, there's usually hot pink, there's usually orange, there's green, there's blue, there's yellow. Now, I like the sari silk because it ends up, when you spin the bat, it gives you this, or if you felt the bats, I like, when I do the wet felting from the bats, I do like to use ones that have sari silk in them, because it gives you this great tweed effect. And then I always like to check the doffer crease here to see how much is on there. Because like I said, there's a lot of air in the coop work. So after I do my post-demo stuff, which is always, you know, where I tease out the bat and I fold it and roll it, and I do all its labeling, and I get it in its bag, and I get it on the bat rack. After I do that, I got a couple other errands to do. I make some phone calls. Most people get, you know, here I am, chatting away, no problem here on Facebook, or later on YouTube. But ask me to make a phone call. Oh. So I gotta make some phone calls. But then I'm gonna head down to my guild. I am gonna do it today. I'm saying I'm gonna do it all week. And last weekend I didn't. January is just not a great month for me. Also, I try to do my vacation there to cheer myself up. I'm hoping to get down to my guild, and I need to do some dyeing. And I've got a towel that I started that I still haven't finished. So I'm not going to finish it today, but I will get closer to finishing it. So I don't get people at the guild annoyed at me because I'm hogging the loom. Ooh, look at that great big splotch of purple. Poke myself in the stomach with the handle. So I will be in the Waffle sale this month. Schedule is not out. They've released the list of accepted vendors, but the schedule is not out yet. Because the big kahuna went on vacation. Big kahuna also means, or sometimes the big enchilada. That is Ellen. But she said she will get the schedule out this week. So we can all make events and things like that. I'm trying to remember what day I was on in November. Usually they're really good so that if they sort of cycle us through. For those of us who have flexibility, like, there are people who have their regular job on Fridays, so they can't do that, or they have other commitments. And so there's a few people who sort of are always almost at the same time all the time. But otherwise they try and rotate us through. So you'll be on Friday one month, and then Saturday the next month, and Sunday the next month, and then back to Friday. But there's flexibility in there. So if in the middle of winter, I have no other shows, so that works great. And there are some people who can't really do more than, use this little piece up. A waffle show and another show the same weekend. And if I'm at a big show, like a multi-day show, I'm not going to do waffle as well, right? But if I'm in a small local show, then, either a show that I'm driving down that day, or just the night before, and I do the show and then I drive home. Then I will, when I do my application, I'll say, I've got this other show. I'll be back home by X amount time. And when that happens, I usually leave of the bats I have, I leave half at home, so that if by some miracle at a show I sold out, I would still have enough for. That's a hot pink in this one. Oh, it's really bright blue. Yeah, so I don't know which day I will be on yet. But there will be bats. I don't think there'll be any hand spun. I have not been spinning nearly as much as I need to. I never recovered from the customer who bought 14 skeins of hand spun. I just need to get more in the habit of spinning more often. I used to spin a lot in the evenings, and now I'm more like veg on the sofa and read. And I'm not, if I was a TV watcher, which I'm not, I feel like this side needs more. I could spin in front of the TV, but I'm not. Right? And I'm not really an audiobook person. So bits here. These on. Something there. Right, that's more bamboo. That is sort of folded in half, so I'll unfold it. Check the thickness once I get the rest of the sari silk on. Ooh, we're gonna have a look at that Papa Hot Pink. We're just gonna do it. Also because I use this brush, that's also why the teeth get a little bent. Okay, so it looks like I can get at least one more layer on. I won't get to spend as much time at the guild as I want, because I have to factor in travel time is an hour. Which is also why I'm like, and I have to be back today by 4:45 because I'm picking up eggs from my farmer. They live in another town, but they work. Well, one of them used to be a colleague of mine at the college, and her husband comes in with the eggs sort of at the close of business today. So he was gonna. This might be the last layer. And there's like a 20-minute window to pick up the eggs. So I'm like, gotta be back for that. Yeah, it's definitely getting full. So I'll be making another one of these probably tomorrow. I don't think I'll do it today. I already talked about what I'm going to do today. Probably go a little heavier on this last layer because when I tease it out, it will spread out. is good so I can take some photos of this and hopefully remember to post them. I may name this after a Spanish city too. Okay, last bit of sari silk. So I'm going to be a little more heavy-handed here. And get bigger coverage. Just that last bit over here. Okay. There we go. Let's put this here. Get the scale out. Find the doffer stick. Okay. So if you are watching, feel free to guess the weight. Oh yeah, a little packed on there. Remember, this tends to be, the Coopworth tends to be a little lighter than some of the other fibers. Just because you can sort of, look how fluffy that is, right? It's just sort of, here in August, but it's not humid. But there's just a lot of crimp there. So it's a lot of air. Okay. Yeah, so the person who gets closest gets trophy emojis. Very exciting. I don't care if you go over or under in your guess. I'm just pressing back this side, the left-hand side, because you are on it. I'm filming this on Android Android camera, phone. So I just tucked it back into the doffer crease there. And then we're going to take this off. So I got my knitting needle to help with the fibers that don't want to release. Should be better because I straightened out those tines. And then, let's see, yeah, you can sort of see the row here. This is the doffer crease. And so there's a bit of a blob of fiber here. So it's got to go past the liquor in. So it's going to be a little harder. I have to sort of push it a bit. Don't like to leave a lot on the drum. I mean, I'm going to make a second one of these, so, you know, it could come off on the second bat, but still like to be pretty clean about this. Okay, and then I just got a little bit of, let's see, this type of thing. Okay, let's wait for the reveal. Oh, look, this is fluffy. Okay, look at that. Look at that. Look how thick that is. Look how thick that is. That's huge. You can see some of the layers there. Okay. Super thick. Super chunky. Oh, it's not really chunky. Turn on the scale. Tear it out. Okay, and I'm going to try and roll this. We'll see how successful I am. It's so thick. It is going to end up being, oh my goodness. So I have sari silk all over the front of my t-shirt. Okay, here we go. Drum roll, please. Don't flop out of there. Oh, it is a lot bigger than I thought it was. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you can see. I've got stuff all over my t-shirt. This is actually bigger. I teared it out, so it's not as... I got a huge amount on here. Okay, this is 3.05 ounces. That's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. And then I'll write the rest of the stuff on there. So, look for photos of this later. If you have a name suggestion. I don't really want to do another Aurora Borealis. Like I said, I'll probably do something from Spain. We will see. Maybe I'll just call it Tapas Bar. Okay, thank you very much for tuning in. And I will see you around on social media.